Kurtop here, and these are 100 finds of archaeologists that each of you should know about. Oldest human tooth. Scientists have announced a sensational discovery in Germany. Ancient dental fossils estimated to be almost 10 million years old that they say do not fit into the established chronology of human history. What's truly shocking is that one of these fossils resembles the teeth of man's earliest ancestors. However, until now, such teeth have only been found in Africa, not Europe, and even then the existing range of fossils is millions of years younger. Found in September 2016 near the German city of Eppelsheim, two well-preserved teeth date back to approximately 9.7 million years ago. One of the teeth, an upper right first molar, is similar in characteristics to other specimens found in the area. But the other tooth, the upper left canine, is different, and the researchers say its outline and shape are similar to those of hominin species, including Australopithecus afarensis. The problem is that Lucy is estimated to be only 3 million years old, and it is believed that humanity's earliest ancestors began their migration from Africa to Europe and Asia approximately 100,000 years ago. So the question is, who did these teeth belong to? Which were in the wrong place and at the wrong time, and how did they get there? Tutankhamun's camping cot. A recently published report by Japanese researchers says that a unique camping cot from the tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun represents a real technological breakthrough of its time. Discovered in 1922 by Howard Carter, this exclusive folding bed has a striking design. It can be folded into a Z shape. Architect Naoko Nishimoto, who specializes in the history of furniture, emphasizes the uniqueness of this find. Although other, simpler folding bed designs have been discovered, this three-piece bed is something special. Nishimoto claims that the craftsman who created this item demonstrated a real engineering miracle. After all, even the legs of the bed, decorated in the shape of lion paws, were equipped with complex hinges which made it possible to roll them up. These pieces were most likely created through trial and error, indicating the deep intelligence and ingenuity of the artisans. Despite the technology of the bed, it is unlikely that the young pharaoh Tutankhamun used it in practice, since his health and lifestyle did not allow this. Scientists speculate that this bed was part of a funerary treasure, symbolizing eternal comfort in the afterlife. Cave with primeval ancient forest. In China, researchers have discovered a striking object, a giant karst pit, inside which is hidden an ancient forest unlike any known so far. This geological phenomenon is located in Li County, Guangxi, Zhuang. Many similar pits have been found in the area, but the size of this one defies the imagination. This pit has a volume of 5 million cubic meters. Its depth is 192 meters, length 306 meters, and width 150 meters. However, the real miracle is hidden inside. Descending to the bottom, a group of speleologists discovered a stunning forest with ancient trees up to 40 m high. These trees are surrounded by dense undergrowth, almost as tall as a man, indicating a unique ecosystem. Experts from the Institute of Karst Geology believe that plants unknown to science may grow here. This site provides a unique opportunity to study the ancient world and possibly hidden life forms. This ancient forest in a giant karst hole in China is a real mystery to science. Scientists from all over the world are all ready to come for research, possibly discovering new species of plants and animals. Once the research is complete, perhaps the site will be open to tourism, allowing us to see this amazing piece of nature in person. This discovery changed archaeology. The 600-year-old Nebra sky disk remains one of the most enigmatic archaeological finds. Inscribed on the UNESCO Memory of the World Register in 2013, this artifact is striking in its design and complex manufacturing technology. Recent research conducted in Germany has shown that the disk was made using a 10-stage hot forging process. Each stage involved heating the metal to 700 degrees Celsius and stress-relieving treatment. This data was obtained using modern techniques such as X-ray spectroscopy and microstructural analysis. Attempts to reproduce the technology have shown that the ancient original methods were superior to modern processing methods. The Nebra sky disk is not only a unique artifact but also proof of the advanced metallurgy knowledge of the time. Ancient calendars in the USA. At Castle Rock Pueblo on the Mesa Verde Plateau in the United States, where Colorado and Utah meet, archaeologists have made astonishing discoveries. In an area known for its unusual rock formations and ancient cave paintings, and scientists have discovered many new petroglyphs. New engravings on a stone that is about 3,000 years old may change our understanding of the culture and history of this area. Archaeologist Radoslaw Polanka from the Jagiellonian University said that at an altitude of about 800 meters above the known settlements, numerous lines and spirals were discovered engraved on the walls. The spirals, whose diameter reaches 1 meter, could be used as calendars to mark important dates and conduct astronomical observations. These finds can radically change the perception of this era, when the Pueblo people led an agricultural lifestyle and made baskets and mats. Light-skinned, blue-eyed giants. For centuries, there have been rumors about giant people who lived on Earth in the distant past. Bone finds around the world support these myths. One of the most mysterious places with such finds is Santa Catalina Island off the coast of California. Santa Catalina is a small, cozy island near Los Angeles, part of the Channel Islands archipelago. Its history begins with the settlement of the Gabrielino Indians about 7,000 years ago. After them, both Spaniards and Mexicans visited here until the island became part of the United States. The story of young Ralph Glidden, who moved to the island in 1896, deserves special attention. After finding an Indian skull, he became interested in searching for ancient relics. Growing up, Ralph conducted many archaeological excavations, finding over 800 graves and many artifacts. He sold these relics to museums and private collectors. The Catalina Island Museum, founded by Glidden, is known for its unique exhibits. Among them, the skeletons found by Glidden became especially popular. But the greatest resonance was caused by his application for the discovery of the remains of people 270 centimeters tall. According to him, they had a European appearance, blonde hair and blue eyes. One of the amazing finds was the skeleton of a girl surrounded by the remains of 64 children. According to Glidden, the remains of more than 3,000 people were discovered on the island. Most of them were tall, which was not typical for the Indians. In 1913, German-born physician A. Furstenen discovered an 8-foot skeleton in Avalon Bay, along with artifacts including a stone with symbols. But when trying to extract it, the skeleton collapsed, leaving only part of the bones. The press actively responded to such reports. The Ogden Standard-Examiner newspaper wrote about Glidden's findings in 1929, claiming the existence of an ancient tall race on Catalina. In addition, it was said that on the nearby island of Santa Rosa, skeletons with double rows of teeth and 6 fingers and toes were discovered in 1959. Furstenen also heard legends about an ancient race of giants on Catalina who lived before the arrival of Europeans. However, Glidden's sensational findings on Santa Catalina remained in question for scientists from around the world. Most scientists believed that he was looking for funding for his research, and rumors said that the skeletons in his museum were only high-quality fakes. According to some sources, part of the giant skeletons was sent to the University of California and the Smithsonian Institution, where they disappeared into secret storage facilities. Archival photos allegedly depicting these skeletons are controversial. There is an opinion that they are fake, but researcher L. Marzulli claims their authenticity, noting the presence of a 6th finger on one of the hands. In 1962, sensing his impending death, Glidden sold his collection for just $5,000. He passed away in 1967. Today, the question of who Ralph Glidden was, a master of hoaxes or the discoverer of a mysterious civilization, remains open. Unfortunately, no convincing scientific evidence has been found for the existence of giants on Earth along with humanity. Elongated skulls. The mystery of the elongated skulls of Paracas continues to stir heated debate among scientists and researchers. These elongated skulls, discovered by archaeologist Julio Tello in 1928 on the Paracas Peninsula in Peru, date back approximately 3,000 years. The skulls are unusually shaped, and although similar finds have been found all over the world, from Rome to the Caucasus, the Paracas skulls are particularly surprising. It is believed that the elongated shape of the skulls was the result of deliberate manipulation, such as tying special bands or boards around the heads of infants. This process, known as cranial deformation, was common among many ancient cultures. Even today, it is practiced by some African tribes. However, it remains a mystery what exactly motivated people everywhere to engage in this practice. One popular hypothesis is that people sought to imitate the gods or guests from heaven who, according to legend, had elongated heads. Another version says that such a shape of the skull could enhance the perception of cosmic energy, which allegedly contributed to spiritual or intellectual development. The peculiarity of the Paracas skulls lies not only in their shape, but also in their volume and structure. Research shows that the volume of the skull is larger than that of ordinary people, and the structure of the bones is different. These anomalies give rise to theories about the extraterrestrial origin of the owners of such skulls. The skulls may belong to representatives of another race or hybrid creatures about which we know little yet. Mermaid from India. Not many people have heard of the archaeological site of Chandraketugarh in India, which is located about 35 kilometers from Kolkata. Chandraketugarh was a prosperous port city involved in international trade where people lived since 400 BC before 1250 AD. Today, only the ruins of a brick Buddhist temple from the 10th century remain on this site. Interest in Chandraketugarh arose due to the many terracotta artifacts dating back to the Shunga period, that is 200-100 BC. Most of them were stolen and taken abroad, and only a few fragments survived in Indian museums. Although the complex was discovered in 1906, the Archaeological Survey of India, under British control, did not carry out excavations here. Many of the stolen items are now in museums around the world, such as the Metropolitan. Two terracotta plates depict a mermaid, a rather rare image in Indian culture. In one, a mermaid swims by a lake, holding something that looks like a mirror or a flower. People on the shore look at her as if she was a miracle. The great chief arrived in a chariot to see this creature. On another, a mermaid was caught in a net by fishermen. People wave at her and she answers them without showing any fear. Looking at these reliefs, I wondered, are they not a reflection of ancient legends or real events that took place in Chandraketugarh 2,200 years ago? Perhaps mermaids were not a figment of the imagination, but real sea creatures in ancient times? Write in the comments under the video. Do you believe in the existence of mermaids or something similar? It's no wonder that the depths of the seas and oceans have not yet been explored. Ritual cocktail composition. For the first time, scientists have been able to study the organic remains inside an ancient vessel that is 2,000 years old. The study has shown that the ancient Egyptians consumed a special ritual cocktail that included fruits, nuts, alcohol, biological fluids, and psychotropic substances. The vessel, known as the Be's mug, was studied using innovative technology developed by scientists from the University of South Florida together with colleagues from Italy. This is the first time that it has been possible to identify the full chemical composition of a ritual drink, including its psychotropic and medicinal components. Be's mugs were dedicated to the Egyptian god of the same name, the patron of fertility, healing, and protection. He was depicted with a crown of feathers, large eyes, and a tail. Such vessels were used from the 16th century BC to the 5th century AD, and the specimen under study dates back to the Ptolemaic period. The analysis showed traces of honey, grapes, sesame, pine nuts, licorice, and hallucinogenic components. Scientists assumed that the mixture was used in magical rituals. People were looking for confirmation of a successful pregnancy because in ancient times it was considered a dangerous and unpredictable process. Such a cocktail probably caused visions, helping to establish a connection with the deity. Ancient dice. Research at the Celtic settlement in Samborowice, Silesia, has yielded a unique find, a 2,000-year-old dice, the oldest found in Poland to date. The Celts inhabited regions of modern southern Poland, including the Glubschice Plateau from the 4th to the 2nd century BC. Archaeological excavations in this area have been ongoing for 11 years. The most interesting find of this year was a dice found in a semi-underground building. The dice is made of bone or horn. Archaeologist Sojda says that although such dice are known mainly from settlements in Lower Austria, Bohemia, and Moravia, they are rare in Samborowice. Several years ago, playing chips were found there. A well-preserved iron fibula, a decorative clasp, was also discovered. This unique find is in excellent condition thanks to the protective layer formed when it was exposed to fire. Each year, finds reveal more about the life of the Celts in this region. Lost Bible text. Archaeologists have found a unique 5th century amulet in Turkey depicting King Solomon defeating the devil. The 1600-year-old bronze pendant is engraved with the ancient Greek inscription, "Our Lord has defeated the devil." This artifact may be related to a lost Bible text that speaks of Solomon's magical powers. Sources claim that during the 1st to 5th centuries, there was a text called the Testament of Solomon, which was not included in the canon. In this text, Archangel Michael gives Solomon a magic ring that allows him to control demons. The amulet confirms that Solomon was perceived not only as a wise king, but also as a champion of evil. The artifact was discovered among the ruins of an ancient military structure in Adrianople, modern Edirne. The amulet probably belonged to a soldier who believed in Solomon's magical protection. The reverse side of the pendant is engraved with the names of the archangels, Azrael, Israfel, Gabriel, and Michael. This symbolizes protection from evil, uniting the traditions of different religions. Azrael is known as the angel of death in Judaism and Islam. Israfel is the herald of the end of the world, blowing the trumpet on the day of judgment. Gabriel and Michael are widely revered in Christianity. The first is the messenger of God, the second is a spiritual warrior. All these names enhance the protective meaning of the amulet. The amulet with Solomon is not just a historical find, it demonstrates how legends and religious traditions intertwine in different eras. The figure of Solomon unites 3 world religions, remaining a symbol of wisdom and strength. Devil's Tracks. On the night of February 8, 1855, mysterious hoofprints appeared in the snow of Devon. They could be seen on rooftops, fields, and narrow streets from up to 100 miles away. The journey of the tracks was not interrupted even in front of obstacles in the form of walls or rivers. Many believed that these were traces of Satan himself. These tracks, also known as devil's hooves, left behind an inexplicable path. The prints resembled those of a donkey, but their placement suggested a bipedal creature. Each track was about 8 centimeters wide and about 10 centimeters long, and the distance between them was from 20 to 40 centimeters. The tracks extended throughout the Devon region, including the ex-estuary area. One of the most unusual aspects was that the tracks appeared out of nowhere and then disappeared. Sometimes they paused at a pile of hay to resume on the other side. In the Times newspaper of February 16, 1855, these marks were called Satan's prints. Many quickly linked this phenomenon to the Prince of Darkness, especially when footprints appeared on doorsteps and around churches. Some people believed the tracks were fake. Some considered possible sources of traces of cats, hares, mice, and badgers. However, no animal could leave marks on the roof. Of course, there were aliens. Some associated the tracks with UFOs or sea monsters. Scientist Mike Dash suggested that there could be different reasons behind the tracks. However, the exact origin of the tracks still remains unknown. Some continue to believe that it was Satan who wandered Devon on that fateful night in 1855. What do you think about this? Write your opinion in the comments. Lycurgus Cup. The Lycurgus cup is a unique artifact of antiquity, combining high art and complex technical implementation. This Roman glass goblet dates back to the 4th century AD and serves as a striking example of the ancient craftsmanship of glassmaking. The peculiarity of the cup lies in its ability to change color under different lighting conditions. In reflected light, the cup appears green, but when illuminated, it takes on a rich ruby red hue. This effect is achieved thanks to gold and silver nanoparticles in the glass. The image on the cup is based on Greek mythology and tells the story of Lycurgus, who tried to kill Ambrosia, the son of the god of wine Dionysus. The image shows how the vines generated by the vineyard entangle the body of Lycurgus, making it impossible for him to move. The Lycurgus cup is now kept in the British Museum. It serves not only as a magnificent example of ancient art, but also as evidence of the high level of knowledge of ancient artisans in the fields of chemistry and optics. Cave paintings of Valcamonica. In the Valcamonica Valley, located in northern Italy, there are over 200,000 cave paintings created by various cultures over the past 8,000 years. These engravings provide unique evidence of ancient civilizations, depicting their rituals, social structure, and daily life. However, among the many traditional images of animals, dancing people, and symbols, there are several engravings that are of particular interest to researchers. Some of them look like figures dressed in strange costumes, reminiscent of spacesuits with details similar to helmets, antennas, and other devices. These drawings have given rise to much speculation. Some argue that they may have been created after contact between the ancient inhabitants of Vonica and alien civilizations. Such theories often rely on the appearance of these figures, arguing that ancient people may have depicted extraterrestrial beings or even astronauts they encountered. However, most scholars are inclined to believe that these engravings may represent ritual or symbolic images, perhaps associated with religious beliefs or rituals of the time. Here, scientists always have one opinion. If a find cannot be explained, it means it is connected either with something extraterrestrial or with an ancient ritual. A chest of gold and concrete. During renovations at a villa in Vienna, workers discovered an incredible treasure. Under the concrete floor of the basement, they found a chest with 30 kilograms of gold Mozart coins. Their value is estimated at 2.3 million euros. The first to notice the mysterious cord sticking out of the concrete was a builder, but he decided not to touch it. Later, a plumber showed up on the scene, became interested in the find, and dug up the metal box. Now, according to Austrian law, he is entitled to a third of the treasure and possibly half, because the rest will go to the owner of the house. It is believed that the gold was hidden in the concrete before World War II. For the plumber, this was a real success, but the builder, who missed the chance, was clearly unlucky. Bottle of ancient Roman wine. An ancient Roman wine bottle dating back to 325 AD is believed to be one of the oldest surviving wine bottles in the world. It was discovered in 1867 near the city of Speyer in Germany as part of a tomb excavation. The vessel is made of glass and has an elongated shape with a narrow neck. Inside the bottle, the wine is turned into a solid substance due to the passing of centuries, but thanks to the sealed plug made of olive wood and wax, the contents of the bottle remained intact. Although modern researchers and wine experts do not recommend trying this ancient drink, it represents a unique testimony to the art of winemaking in ancient Rome. Now the bottle is in the Historical Museum of the city of Speyer and is one of its main exhibits. Gold necklaces in an unusual place. At the end of August, in the province of Asturias, Spain, Sergio Narciandi accidentally discovered a unique piece of gold jewelry while working on a pipeline in the municipality of Cavandi. At first glance, Sergio realized the value of the find. In front of him was an ancient torque, a neck decoration symbolizing high social status. Soon, archaeologists arrived at the discovery site. These artifacts, experts said, could be key to understanding the Iron Age, revealing the secrets of pre-Roman societies. These decorations will help us delve deeper into the cultural, technological, and social aspects of that era. Estimating the age of the jewelry, scientists suggest that they are about 2,500 years old. Torques, traditionally made from precious materials, are most often associated with Celtic and Germanic nobility. Experts noted the high level of craftsmanship inherent in these ancient jewelry, which opens new horizons for the study of artifacts of this time. Book of the Dead and Royal Burials. Tuna el Gebel was once the cemetery of Mun, or Hermopolis Magna, and is the most significant Greco-Roman necropolis in Egypt, with a history dating back to the New Kingdom and continuing into the Roman era. The Egyptian Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities has announced a recent discovery, a New Kingdom cemetery in Tuna el Gebel. Led by Dr. Mostafa Vaziri, a team of archaeologists illuminated the secrets of this amazing site. They discovered many rock-cut tombs containing stone and wooden sarcophagi. Major finds include funerary amulets, precious stones, gold items, and ushabti, figurines depicting influential officials, including Jehutimes, responsible for the bulls of the Temple of Amun, and Nani, the singer of Amun. The artifacts reflect the status and beliefs of the New Kingdom elite. An interesting find was a papyrus about 15 meters long associated with the Book of the Dead, an ancient Egyptian funerary text. This document includes magical spells aimed at helping the deceased on their way to the other world. Runestone from Rioka. An ancient runic inscription on a stone found in southern Sweden at Edishög is the longest in the world. Many experts believe that this is an epitaph in memory of the warrior Vamuda, created by his father. However, Swedish scientists who studied the text concluded that the stone also reflects fear of the coming climate crisis, in particular global cooling. Researchers suggest that the text refers to the consequences of the cold snap of 536, which caused famine, mass migrations, and conflicts. This crisis could have caused the Scandinavian population to halve. The text also mentions battles under the reign of Theodoric, possibly referring to Theodoric the Great. However, scientists believe that there may be an additional subtext, the struggle between light and darkness, life and death. According to archaeology professor Bo Graslund, the text can record terrible natural phenomena such as a solar storm or an eclipse. They could provoke fear of the approach of Fimbulwinter, the apocalyptic winter from Norse mythology. Human bone tiara. Archaeologists in Altai have discovered ancient jewelry that is about 40,000 years old. They were found in Denisova cave. One of the unique finds was a diadem made from the bone of a large mammal, preliminarily human. Such artifacts had not previously been found in the monuments of the Denisovan culture. In addition to the diadem, archaeologists found in the cave beads and pendants of various shapes made of stone, shells, bones, animal teeth, and mammoth tusks. Denisova Cave is a famous archaeological site where numerous artifacts and remains of ancient animals were discovered from 1977 to 1984. The remains of Denisovans, a species of human related to Neanderthals, were also found there. Denisovans separated from the Neanderthals about 640,000 years ago. Interestingly, Neanderthals, Denisovans, and Cro-Magnons, ancestors of modern humans, coexisted and even interbred. Denisovan DNA is present in the genomes of many peoples in Asia and Oceania. What other secrets do you think Denisova Cave holds? Write in the comments under the video. The Risen Telamon. This unique Atlantean from the Temple of Zeus in the ancient city of Agrigento in Sicily is one of the most impressive examples of monumental sculpture of the 5th century BC. The temple, built in the Doric style, was considered one of the largest temples of the ancient world, and its architecture reflected the power of Greek civilization. The telamons, which acted as supports, had a symbolic meaning depicting the titanic force supporting the sky or the enormous weight of an architectural structure. These giant statues, about 7.5 meters high, were impressive both in their detail and size. One of the telamons was restored and installed in its original place, demonstrating the complexity of the engineering and artistic solutions of the ancient masters. But there are myths and mysteries surrounding the Atlanteans. Some researchers believe that the images of the Titans could reflect ancient myths about the confrontation between the gods and giants, and their position in the temple symbolized their conquest. Others believe that such sizes and shapes could have been used as images of extraterrestrial beings, which the ancient inhabitants believed in. Cybele on a chariot. Medallion depicting Cybele on a chariot dated to the 2nd century BC is a unique work of art of the Greco-Bactrian kingdom. This kingdom originated in the region that is now part of modern Afghanistan and was formed by the Greek conquerors after Alexander the Great. Cybele, the maternal goddess of nature and fertility, was a cult figure in a number of ancient religions, and her image on the medallion speaks to the mixture of cultures and religious practices in the Greco-Bactrian kingdom. The medallion depicts Cybele driving a chariot drawn by lions, symbolizing her dominant role in nature and the cosmos. Buddha statue in Egypt. As part of a joint American-Polish archaeological expedition, scientists made a startling discovery at Berenice, an ancient Roman-era Egyptian port city on the Red Sea. During the excavations, researchers found a marble statue of Buddha almost a meter high. The Buddha is depicted holding his robe in one hand, while the other part of the statue is missing. The background of the statue is decorated with a mandorla, symbolizing the enlightened mind with traced rays of light. In addition, there is a blooming lotus at the base. The dating of the artifact indicates the one Sate II in centuries AD. This find provides evidence of commercial relations between Egypt and India in ancient times. Such connections may have begun even before the 4th century BC. Art and relics with cosmic features. Over the centuries, humanity has created art and relics which sometimes represent figures with unusual cosmic features. These images have become the subject of discussions and theories related to the possibility of contacts with extraterrestrial civilizations. One of the most famous examples is the ancient images in the Indian Vedas, which describe flying machines known as vimanas. While most researchers believe they represent mythological or symbolic images, some claim they are evidence of ancient technology or even extraterrestrial intervention. In numerous ancient cultures from Egypt to Central America, statues and reliefs have been found that depict figures with unusual helmet-like headdresses or other cosmic attributes. These images are often associated with gods or great rulers who could descend from heaven. Another example is the art of the ancient Sumerians. Some of these images represent creatures that some theorists argue could be interpreted as extraterrestrial. However, most archaeologists and art historians argue that such images are the result of religious beliefs, mythology, or symbolic art rather than evidence of contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. Whatever the true meaning of these images is, they serve as a reminder of the richness and depth of human imagination and our desire to understand and interpret the unknown around us. Vintage time capsule. Experienced treasure hunter Jane Eastman recently made an unusual discovery at the bottom of a river in England. She found a Victorian glass bottle filled with pickles. Jane showed this amazing treasure to her Instagram followers, where her find caused a heated discussion. The bottle, made of green water glass, was in excellent condition, and its lid with the inscription W&D Harvest Dowgate Dock London prompted Jane to research its history. She found out that W&D Harvest was a company selling spices and pickles in London since the 1870s, and the bottle she found probably dates back to the period 1890 to 1910. According to Jane, the bottle was completely sealed, so the pickles were preserved. The woman called it a real time capsule and decided not to open the find to preserve it in its original condition. To do this, she sealed the lid with sealing wax. Long pickle jars were popular in the Victorian era due to their practicality. The only thing that is not yet clear is whether the cucumbers remained edible. Medieval female giant. In the Middle Ages, on the island of Ostrów Lednicki in Poland, there lived a woman of extraordinary height who probably suffered from mental disorders. This is the only known giantess from Poland at that time, as confirmed by Dr. Magdalena Madzak. Her height was about 215 centimeters, while ordinary women were around 1.6 meters tall. The woman passed away at the age of 30. Her skeleton was found by researchers in the Lednice area. According to assumptions, the presence of such a disease could be accompanied by mental problems. Interestingly, despite her height, the life of a giantess in medieval Poland could have been quite comfortable since she was well known in her community. But her burial was unusual. Contrary to accepted traditions, her face was directed to the west, and she did not have funerary objects. Medieval prosthetic hand. During archaeological work, a skeleton with a rare iron prosthetic arm was found near Freising in Bavaria. This amazing prosthesis dates back to the late Middle Ages or early modern period and was discovered near the parish church of St. George. The find was sent to Munich for detailed study. The prosthesis was intended for the left hand, missing 4 fingers. Apparently, it was covered in leather and contained a soft padding at the base, and the fingers were made of non-ferrous metal. Although such prostheses were rare, about 50 examples of similar products have been discovered in Central Europe. These ancient prosthetics demonstrate the attempts of doctors of the time to help people who had lost limbs, especially amid numerous military conflicts such as the 30 Years' War. One of the most famous prosthetics was created for Götz von Berlichingen, a knight who lost his arm in 1504. His story inspired Goethe to write a play. Both of Götz's prostheses have survived and are now in the family castle in Baden-Württemberg. Hidden essence. This unique Mayan clay figure was found in the Petén region of Guatemala and dates back to the Classic period. The figure is seated in a pose of deep contemplation or ritual gesture, with open palms symbolizing an offering or appeal to the gods. On his head is a mask that evokes associations with modern helmets or even spacesuits, making this artifact the subject of much speculation. The mask could symbolize a connection with the other world or be part of a ceremonial costume designed to imitate gods or spirits. However, some researchers see references to extraterrestrial contacts in its unusualness. Mayan legends often mention sky people who brought knowledge from other worlds, and such iconography could be a symbolic representation of these traditions. The figure also has decorations, a massive medallion and bracelets, which indicates the high status of the person depicted. Perhaps this was the figure of a priest or shaman performing an important ritual role. Ancient Roman boxing gloves. Cestus is an ancient Roman boxing glove which was intended not so much to protect the boxer's hands, but to increase the injury rate of blows. These combat accessories, reinforced with metal or bone inserts, could inflict fatal wounds. The only known surviving specimen of cestus was discovered during archaeological excavations in the city of Pompeii, which was buried under a layer of ash and lava as a result of the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. This rare artifact is an amazing testament to ancient Roman sporting culture and the brutality of gladiatorial combat. The cestus is made of leather and decorated with lead and iron inserts. Unlike modern boxing gloves, the purpose of this device was to cause maximum damage to the opponent. Although modern boxing is considered a brutal sport, Roman fights using cestus were much more dangerous and bloody. Mysterious mask. A strange iridium artifact found in Florida challenges traditional ideas about ancient civilizations. According to researchers, this object is 12,000 years old and is made of iridium, a metal that is extremely rare on Earth and most often found in meteorites. The artifact is striking in its delicacy and skillful processing, which suggests that the ancient craftsmen had technologies that were significantly ahead of their time. An image is engraved on the surface of the object, reminiscent of the deity Viracocha, known in the Inca culture as the creator of all things. According to legend, Viracocha came from Lake Titicaca, bringing light and knowledge. This image may be evidence of a connection between ancient peoples and an extraterrestrial civilization, which would explain the use of rare meteorite material to create this artifact. Historians believe that this object was stolen by Spanish conquistadors in 1715 and taken away on the ship La Concepcion. The ship sank in a storm, leaving much of its cargo, including other artifacts, on the ocean floor. The mask washed up on the beach and is believed by experts to be just a small part of the $5 billion lost treasure. Tomb of Cerberus. A remarkably well-preserved tomb was recently discovered in the Giugliano area of Campania near Naples during archaeological excavations ahead of the modernization of the city's water supply system. The entrance to the tomb was sealed with a tough slab. The ancient Roman tomb is approximately 2,000 years old. Inside the chamber, there are a huge number of amazing frescoes on the walls. The image of the three-headed dog Cerberus especially stands out, which is why the tomb was nicknamed Tomb of Cerberus. This mythical creature is known as the Hound of Hades. He guarded the entrance to the underworld and prevented the souls of the dead from leaving. The fresco shows the moment when Hercules, completing his 12 labors, kidnaps Cerberus. The walls also depict mythical scenes with ichthyocentaurs, creatures whose upper body resembles a man and whose lower body resembles a horse with a fishtail.
The Fat Lady of Saliagos. The Fat Lady of Saliagos represents a unique testimony to the ancient culture that flourished in the Cyclades Islands during the Neolithic era. Its discovery revealed many secrets about the lifestyle, religious practices, and artistic traditions of this ancient society. Saliagos, despite its small size, was of key importance in the early history of the Aegean region. In addition to its role as a connecting isthmus between Antiparos and Paros, it was a center of production and trade, as evidenced by finds of obsidian tools in excess of local needs. Ceramic vases discovered on the island provide insight into the design and style of the era. Their patterns and shapes reflect creativity that may have had religious or cultural significance to the people of Saliagos. Overall, the discoveries at Saliagos provide invaluable information about the ancient world of the Aegean region. Woman in the Siberian necropolis. A unique find was discovered on the edge of the Arctic. A single woman resting in a male necropolis buried in a cocoon made of copper and fur. This mysterious 12th century woman, belonging to an unknown hunting and fishing civilization of Siberia, has surprising connections to Persia. Her body was accidentally mummified and she was estimated to be around 35 years old. The woman's face shows a greenish tint from pieces of the copper teapot that helped preserve her in the permafrost. She has long eyelashes, full hair, and impressive teeth. Next to the skull, they found bronze temple rings wrapped in animal skin, possibly deer and birch bark, which was used to wrap the mummy. Like other remains, the mummy's legs point toward the Gorny Polui River, which scientists believe has religious significance. The copper mummy is the first discovery of an adult woman in this ancient cemetery. Many analyses will be carried out, including DNA.
by Russian and South Korean scientists. Message from space. The Inga River in Brazil is home to the mysterious Inga Stone in the state of Paraíba, causing much controversy in the archaeological community. Unknown geometric symbols are carved into the surface of this 46-meter-high gneiss stone. The origin and meaning of these symbols has not yet been revealed. Do you think they indicate a forgotten civilization, or are they a message from the ancestors? This stone is at least 6,000 years old. There are other stones and caves with carvings nearby, but they are not that interesting. Archaeologist Gabriele Beraldi discovered the first Inga cave in 1988. In total, he examined 497 symbols on the walls of the caves. Most of them are mysterious, but some undoubtedly depict space objects such as the Milky Way and the constellation Orion. Some scientists see in them similarities with ancient Phoenician and Egyptian writings, others with runes. The study of the symbols showed that they may be associated with ancient beliefs, for example, with the cult of fertility. One researcher has suggested that the Inga Stone may contain an ancient solar calendar. Other hypotheses involve contact with extraterrestrial civilizations or even ancient formulas or mathematical equations. Rare artifacts from the Titanic. An alligator skin handbag and tiny perfume bottles that still exude a powerful scent are just a few of the precious artifacts found during the excavation of the sunken Titanic. The location of the warehouse containing these relics is a closely guarded secret, only known to be located in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. The shelves are filled with thousands of items, from an overturned bathtub and portholes to tiny buttons and glassware. Thomasina Ray, Director of Collections at RMS Titanic Inc., showed off an alligator skin handbag belonging to Marion Meanwell, a third-class passenger. Marion was a 63-year-old milliner who was traveling to the United States to visit her daughter. Her bag contained important documents and photographs. Her tragic fate was that she had originally booked a ticket for another ship, but ended up on the Titanic and was one of the 1,500 who died. Other artifacts include perfume bottles belonging to Adolf Saalfeld, a perfumer and first-class passenger who survived the disaster. The scent of the perfume can still be smelled today, despite the fact that it has been lying on the ocean floor for decades. The collection also includes a bottle of champagne with the drink inside, found among the many kitchen utensils on the ocean floor. The Titanic was a luxury liner, and there was a huge amount of champagne on board for the first-class passengers who enjoyed the highest level of comfort. The tableware on board reflected the class divisions: rough white ceramics for third class, exquisite gold-rimmed plates for first-class passengers. These objects helped to recreate the atmosphere of life on board. RMS Titanic Inc., the company that is authorized to retrieve artifacts from the ship, recently announced its desire to retrieve the Marconi radio that transmitted distress signals. Some believe that the sunken ship is a burial site that should be left alone. However, Thomasina Ray notes the importance of preserving the memory of the tragedy through these artifacts. What do you think? Should the ship be left alone, or should an attempt be made to raise it to dry land? Write your opinion in the comments below the video. Neolithic obsidian. On November 20th, Naples police recovered a processed piece of obsidian at a depth of more than 30 meters off the coast of Capri, Italy. The artifact, weighing 8 kilograms and measuring 28 x 20 x 15 centimeters, found near the famous White Grotto, is believed to be part of the cargo from a sunken Neolithic ship. The search continues. Researchers hope to find other debris and possibly fragments of the ship. Obsidian, a volcanic glass, was used in the Neolithic to create tools and cutting tools. At the end of the 19th century, a cache of obsidian blocks and more than 800 obsidian items, about 7,000 years old, were discovered in Capri. Analysis showed that they were from Lipari, a volcanic island off Sicily. This indicates ancient trade between the islands. The oldest pirate flag. The National Museum of the Navy in Portsmouth displays a unique artifact, the Jolly Roger pirate flag, captured off the coast of Africa in 1780. This flag with a red background sent a specific message to merchant ships: surrender or die. There are traces of gunpowder and charred bullet holes on its fabric. Around 1700, such flags began to be actively used by pirates. Initially, red dominated, but over time, pirates experimented with other designs, including black flags. Richard Noyce, the museum's curator, says the image of pirates created by Hollywood is far from reality. In history, they were dangerous threats to trade and not romantic movie heroes. Each pirate ship captain could choose his own design for his flag, but the skull and crossbones motif became the most popular. The name Jolly Roger likely comes from the French phrase Joli Rouge, which translates to beautiful red, emphasizing the original red color of the flag. Climate of the ancient world according to wooden tablets. Researchers have uncovered the secrets of the climate of the past thanks to an unusual source: ancient mummies. In Roman times, wooden tablets were attached to mummies, and it was these small details that turned out to be the key to unraveling the weather of those times. It wasn't just names engraved on them. The rings on the tree turned out to be a living chronicle of the climate. Drought years, narrow rings on the tree become their witnesses. But to get a complete picture of ancient weather, one tablet is not enough. Fortunately, many such artifacts have survived. Museums around the world hold thousands of them, and it's interesting that they are from different tree species. The latest study took 300 of these ancient climate records. This helped scientists get closer to understanding the weather conditions of the eastern Mediterranean in the areas of what is now Lebanon, Greece, and the Nile River. However, the date of each climate change remains a mystery. Perhaps the answers lie in radiocarbon dating. Turtle figurine. In England, near the village of Wickham Skeet in Suffolk, researchers with metal detectors discovered a copper figurine of a tortoise dating back to ancient Rome. The figurine, measuring about 3 by 3 centimeters, did not have any fastenings, which indicates it's possible belonging to a set of similar products. Experts date it to the beginning of the 2nd century AD, and similar finds were made in Colchester. The figurine features a typical tortoiseshell with a worn top and decorative patterns. Although one of the figurine's legs and tail is damaged, its head and other limbs are well preserved. In the ancient Roman period, turtles were associated with Mercury, the god of trade and travel. They were used in the making of lyres, musical instruments associated with Mercury. There is also a version about the connection of turtles with Sabazius, the Phrygian and Thracian god healer. Mythical figurines. In ancient Pompeii, archaeologists have found 13 terracotta figurines that may reflect the myth of the goddess Cybele and Attis, known for her tragic love story, jealousy, and the idea of rebirth. These figurines were discovered in a house named after the fresco Leda and the Swan, which depicts Zeus as a swan and Leda. The figurines were found under 2 meters of pumice, and scientists believe they may depict the ancient myth of Cybele and Attis, which originated in Phrygia, present-day Turkey, and was popular in ancient Greek and Roman cultures. In this story, Cybele falls in love with the young Attis, but his love for another causes her jealousy, as a result of which Attis falls into madness and loses his life under the pine tree. After this, Cybele asks the gods to turn Attis into a pine tree with violets, symbolizing eternal life and renewal. This myth is often interpreted as a symbol of the cyclical nature of life. Engineering miracle in Egypt. Ancient Egypt continues to amaze modern researchers again. This time, an amazing tunnel was discovered under a temple in the ancient city of Taposiris Magna, which experts call a geometric miracle. The tunnel was found at a depth of 13 meters. Its length is 1305 meters, and its height is about 2 meters. It is carved into sandstone and resembles the famous Eupalinos tunnel on the Greek island of Samos, which is considered an engineering miracle. The exact purpose of the tunnel is still unknown, but some of its parts are flooded with water. Archaeologist Martinez, who has been searching for the lost tomb of Cleopatra VII since 2004, believes that the tunnel may lead to important discoveries. Taposiris Magna was founded around 280 BC by Ptolemy II, one of Cleopatra's ancestors. Archaeologists believe the temple was dedicated to Osiris and Isis, deities with whom Cleopatra was closely associated. The team also plans to explore the Mediterranean Sea, as a series of earthquakes between 320 and 1303 caused part of the temple to collapse into the water. In my previous videos, I described how tunnels were discovered connecting Lake Mariu to the Mediterranean. Who left this mark? In Morocco, archaeologists have discovered 85 ancient traces of human feet, dating back to approximately 90.3 thousand years ago. These are the oldest footprints in North Africa and one of the oldest footprints of Homo sapiens. The discovery was made near the port city of Larache in northwestern Morocco. Researchers found prints ranging in length from 12.7 to 30 centimeters in an area of about 2,800 square meters.
These footprints indicate that they were made by people ranging in height from 121 to 189 centimeters, most of whom were taller than 140 centimeters. The tracks belong to at least 5 individuals: 2 children, a teenager or young adult, and 2 adults. One of the adults was probably a man. To determine the age of the prints, the method of optically stimulated luminescence was used. Another prints of ancient feet. Archaeologists in South Africa have discovered footprints that could change our understanding of the daily lives of early people. The footprints discovered at Kleinkrans may have been dated to between 79,000 and 148,000 years ago. They have features that indicate that people of this era used shoes. Why did scientists conclude that it was shoes? The absence of toe prints and the presence of clear edges indicate that the person was not barefoot. The footprints may have belonged to ancient hominids of average height. The researchers recreated the scenario using sand sandals to see if they would leave similar marks. The results were convincing. The sandals created similar marks, especially on wet sand. This conclusion may seem trivial, but it has profound historical implications. In those days, a traumatic wound on the foot could have been a deadly threat. Shoes could serve not only as protection from sharp objects, but also as a precaution against environmental hazards. However, despite all the evidence, scientists are in no hurry to confirm that it was shoes, given the difficulty of interpreting the prints and the lack of actual samples of such ancient shoes.
Ring with the inscription, "For Allah." A ring with Arabic inscription dating back to the 9th century was discovered by researchers from Stockholm University in the city of Birka, an ancient Viking trading center in Sweden. This unique piece of purple stone jewelry speaks to the Vikings' ties to the Islamic world, supporting the theory of trade between these cultures. Initial speculation was that the stone in the ring was an amethyst, but further research revealed that it was violet glass, a material that was rare at the time. Scientists believe that such glass could have come from Egypt or Mesopotamia, supporting the idea of trade links. There are traces of silver on the inside of the ring, indicating that it was purchased new before it became Viking property. This artifact supports the hypothesis of cultural and trade exchanges between Scandinavia and the Arab world, making it one of the most important finds of its time.
The world's oldest alphabet. Archaeologists have discovered the world's oldest alphabet dating back over 4,000 years in Syria. This unique find was made in the tomb of el-Mara, one of the oldest cities in the Middle East. The clay cylinders engraved with symbols date back to 2400 BC, making them about 500 years older than all known alphabets. According to the researchers, the inscriptions on the cylinders were likely used as labels to indicate the contents of the vessels, their owners, or their origin. Although the symbols have not yet been deciphered, radiocarbon dating has confirmed their age, dating back to the early Bronze Age. Previously, it was believed that the alphabet arose around 1900 BC in Egypt or its surroundings. But these discoveries are forcing us to rewrite history. The alphabet revolutionized writing, making it accessible to people outside the royal nobility. It changed not only the ways of communication, but also thinking, interaction between people, and the transfer of knowledge. The discovery was the result of 16 years of excavations by an international team of scientists. In addition to the cylinders, skeletons, gold and silver jewelry, a spearhead, ceramics, and utensils were found in the tomb. These discoveries show how ancient cultures developed writing, forming the basis of modern languages. Beautiful and mysterious. An archaeological discovery in Norfolk, East Anglia has sparked interest among scientists around the world. A gilded silver object dating from the late 8th or early 9th century was discovered at Langham and has become the subject of debate among historians. This 19.4 mm artifact features intricate designs and a depiction of a stylized animal looking back over its shoulder. The technique used to create it involved mixing mercury with gold powder, which demonstrates the high skill of its creators. The uncertainty of its purpose adds to the mystery of the find, which demonstrates an appreciation for the beauty and grace of the period. As Helen Gick, a finds officer at Norfolk, noted, the item was crafted with the same care as a piece of jewelry or a religious text. The gold and mercury used in the manufacture may have been imported from Spain. Geek suggests that the artifact could be part of the staff. Norwich Castle Museum has already expressed interest in purchasing the item for its collection, highlighting its significance and uniqueness. Artificial intelligence finds new geoglyphs. Archaeologists have used artificial intelligence, AI, to discover 303 new geoglyphs near the Nazca lines in Peru. Depicting parrots, cats, monkeys, killer whales, and even decapitated heads, the figures nearly double the number of known drawings at the enigmatic 2,000-year-old archaeological site. A team from Yamagata University in Japan, in collaboration with IBM Research, has found previously unknown geoglyphs that are significantly smaller in size than the giant geometric patterns created between 200 and 700 AD. Dating back to 200 BC, the figures provide new evidence of the transition from the Paracas to the Nazca culture, which later created such famous designs as the hummingbird, monkey, and whale. According to archaeologist Masato Sakai, the use of AI has made it possible to speed up and improve the process of mapping the geoglyphs. Using this approach, the team was able to find 303 new drawings in just 6 months, which is significantly faster than the previous almost a century, when 430 geoglyphs were discovered. The AI helped to recognize small relief geoglyphs that are difficult to notice with the naked eye, as well as analyze huge amounts of data collected by drones to identify potential locations for new finds. Drones and artificial intelligence have become a quantum leap in the study of geoglyphs. Some of the new drawings are only 7 meters in size, so they remained undetected by traditional research methods. Remains of a lost pagan cult. Archaeologists near Prague have found a unique bronze buckle depicting a snake-like creature devouring a person or a frog-like object. This discovery may point to a forgotten pagan cult that connected different regions of Central Europe in the early Middle Ages. The buckle found in the Czech Republic was initially thought to be unique, but similar buckles have also been discovered in Germany and Hungary. Archaeologist Jiří Mačáček claims that the find may indicate a previously unknown pagan cult that survived before the spread of Christianity. The symbolism of the buckle is still unclear, but researchers suggest that the image may be associated with creation myths, where the fight against a snake or dragon is a central element, and the interaction between a snake and a frog may indicate a fertility cult. Research shows that these buckles were made in the 7th and 8th centuries and were worn by the Avars, a nomadic people who settled in Hungary and created an influential state in Central Europe. The items were made from copper mined in the Slovak ore mountains and became popular among other peoples of the region, including the Slavs.
This bread has been baked for 43,000 years. Evidence has been found in Australia that the Aborigines baked bread long before the Egyptians, more than 34,000 years ago. The discovery of millstones in New South Wales reveals an ancient tradition of flour making. The Aborigines, known as hunter-gatherers, also practiced agriculture. The women collected seeds from a variety of plants, including native grasses and spinifex, sometimes even from ant nests. Flour was ground on millstones, some of which are up to 50,000 years old. The resulting flour was turned into dough and baked into nutritious bread, an important element of the Aboriginal diet. With the arrival of Europeans and the introduction of white flour, traditional baking methods almost disappeared. But today there is a renewed interest in these ancient techniques and the culinary heritage of Aboriginal Australia. Remains of an ancient market. In Northampton's Market Square, archaeologists have discovered unique finds that open new pages in the city's history. Among them are a possible punishment post and traces of an unknown market hall. A team from London's Museum of Archaeology found fragments of medieval shoes, textiles, ceramics, and animal bones. In the center of the square, they found a stone building, possibly a market chamber. Another building may predate the creation of the market in 1236. The discovered structures may be depicted on a 17th century map. In the south of the square, they found the Great Conduit, built by Edward IV. They also found a medieval pillar that could have been used for punishment. After the research, the structures will be closed and the found objects will be stored in the museum.
Luristan bronzes. The Luristan bronzes are a collection of bronze artifacts originating from the Luristan province in western Iran. These objects date back to the period between the 12th and 6th centuries BC and represent some of the most exquisite examples of ancient metallurgy and art. Most Luristan bronzes are small figurines, weapons, jewelry, and utensils. Their designs often use geometric motifs and animal images, especially goats and other horned creatures. Some of these items may have been used for religious or ritual purposes, while others may have been objects of everyday use. Luristan bronzes represent a reflection of the culture of the peoples who lived on the territory of modern Iran during the first millennium BC. Their uniqueness lies in their quality and style, which differs from other bronze objects of the time.
Archaeologists missing. At the beginning of the 20th century, British archaeologist Archibald Bell worked in Egypt studying the pyramids of Giza. In 1925, he suddenly disappeared right in the middle of the excavations. The team searched for his traces for a long time, but to no avail. According to rumors, Bell went to explore a previously unknown tunnel inside the Pyramid of Cheops but never returned. A few weeks later, Egyptian workers accidentally stumbled upon a small hidden passage in one of the corridors of the pyramid. There they found Bell's body with a notebook in his hand. As it turned out from his notes, he entered an unknown room, locked for millennia, but the entrance was blocked by stones and the archaeologist was trapped. His notes contained a description of unusual artifacts that were never found again, a stone staff and unknown writing. This story gave rise to a lot of rumors about the curse of the pharaohs, which supposedly falls on those who disturb the peace of ancient rulers. Although some of the facts have been confirmed, many details still remain a mystery. Aeneas water telegraph. Far beyond telephones and television, telecommunications have ancient roots. One of the earliest methods of transmitting messages over a distance was the use of smoke with different colors. In ancient Greece, around 350 BC, Aeneas Tacticus is credited with the invention of the water telegraph. The system consisted of 2 cans of water and a stick with messages. When the signal was sent, both people opened the taps and the floating sign showed the same message. In Britain, Francis Wishaw created a more complex, water-based system that transmitted messages through changes in water pressure. Despite its innovation, this system did not catch on. These ancient methods, although seemingly outdated, are the forerunners of modern communication technologies and are a reminder of humanity's constant desire for better communication. Rock spheroids 1.4 million years old. In the 1960s, archaeologists in northern Israel discovered an unusual find, almost 600 stone balls in an area dating back 1.4 million years. A recent analysis of 150 of these balls showed that they were created by our ancestors. This discovery suggests that early humanoid creatures sought to create symmetry and were fond of craft work. The use of modern technology has made it possible to accurately measure the angles and curvature of the surface of the balls, as well as determine their center of mass. The analysis showed that the spheroids represent complex technology, indicating the high cognitive abilities and skills of early Acheulean people. It would seem like ordinary stone balls, but how much they can tell about our ancestors. 1.5 million years ago, our ancestors had completely different thinking and needs. Therefore, the creation of such artifacts in those years was considered a huge achievement. Mysterious substance in a coffin. Archaeologists in northwestern China's Xinjiang region have made a shocking discovery. In an ancient coffin that was about 3,600 years old and contained mummies from the Bronze Age, a mysterious substance was found on the neck of one of the women. Today, scientists believe it is the oldest cheese in the world. The researchers isolated DNA from the substance and found that it was kefir cheese made from cow and goat milk. This discovery is important for understanding the origins of kefir and the evolution of probiotic bacteria. Jiao Mei Fu, from the Chinese Academy of Sciences, and colleagues analyzed the bacteria, yeast, and proteins in the sample, which allowed them to identify the ancient cheese. The research suggests that kefir cheese was important to people at the time. It may have been placed in the grave as part of burial customs or as food for the afterlife. Interestingly, 2 types of cheese were found in the coffin, one made from goat's milk and one from cow's milk. Genetic studies have shown that the microorganisms in the cheese are similar to modern kefir strains found in East Asia and Tibet. This raises questions about the geographic origins of kefir. Previously, kefir was thought to have originated in the Caucasus, but new today points to a possible second source in Xinjiang. These results suggest that kefir has spread around the world via multiple routes, and its history is closely tied to the evolution of human culture.
Medieval smartphone app. Did you know that the predecessor to modern smartphone apps was invented in the Middle Ages? It was a volvel, an interactive device made of paper that performed many functions, from calculations of celestial bodies to medical diagnostics and navigation at sea. A volvel consisted of one or more rotating paper discs printed with data that the user could combine to perform calculations or find answers. This invention was similar to the astrolabe, an ancient instrument for observing the positions of the stars. The first volveli were created by Ramon Llull of Mallorca, a great philosopher and scientist of the 13th and 14th centuries. Llull called them volveli after the Latin word volvere, meaning to rotate. He used the subject to resolve religious disputes by unifying different elements of thought and language through complex geometric figures. Volveli were also used to tell time at night, which was important for the correct administration of drugs. In the Middle Ages, volveli were often associated with magic and fortune-telling, but over time they became a valuable tool for the accumulation and generation of knowledge. Today, volveli can be found for educational purposes, demonstrating the historical roots of the principles of calculation and visualization.
Mummification of meat. Many people have heard about King Tutankhamun, but not many know that he was buried with 48 boxes of beef and poultry. In order to provide food for the pharaoh in the afterlife, his funeral preparations included food supplies. A new study by archaeologists reveals interesting burial customs of ancient Egypt. It turns out that the meat that was buried with the pharaohs was mummified, treated with special balms for preservation. This meat, called meat mummies, was common in Egyptian funerals, with the oldest examples dating back to more than 5,000 years ago and the earliest to 1,600 years ago. The latest study involved the analysis of 4 samples of meat mummies dated between 1386 and 948 BC, which were found in the tombs of high-ranking figures. Meats included cattle ribs, veal, and goat. Scientists conducted a chemical analysis of the meat and the bandages with which it was wrapped. They found that animal fat was used to coat goat and calf bandages, indicating its use as a preservative. However, the ribs of the cattle contained the remains of a complex balm of fat or oil and resin from the pistachia tree, which was a luxury in ancient Egypt. About 600 years later, after being used in the mummification of meat, this balm was also used for human mummies. Early Iron Age cremation burial. During the expedition to Hallstatt-Salzburg in Austria, many new finds were discovered. The most remarkable of these is a cremation burial containing well-preserved bronze objects. While studying the metal finds, scientists discovered surprisingly well-preserved remains of fabric. Hallstatt is famous for its salt mining, dating back to prehistoric times and giving its name to the Hallstatt culture, a people who emerged in the late Bronze Age. The burial is located in an Iron Age cemetery first opened in 1846. In 1863, archaeologists discovered more than 1,000 graves at this site. Among the finds are a ribbed hand ring, spirals of thin wire, and a bronze blade with traces of a wooden handle. The finds were tightly packed into the grave. Archaeologists have identified traces of fabric on the spiral discs, which may provide the first archaeological evidence of the use of textile bags for cremated remains. Tales of the Star People among the Indians. In the culture of many indigenous peoples of America, there are legends about star people, who, as these legends say, arrived on Earth from outer space. These mythological tales embody ancient encounters between the continent's indigenous people and creatures from distant stars. Such stories are especially vivid in the culture of the tribes of the plateau of North America. According to their beliefs, star people not only visited Earth but also passed on knowledge to the Indians, helping them adapt to life, teaching them farming, healing, and even spiritual practices. One of the legends tells how the star people descended to Earth on sparkling silver discs, attracting the attention of the Indians with their light and sound. These newcomers were friendly and imparted wisdom and knowledge to the tribe. There are also legends that some of the Indians went into the sky with the star people and returned back, enriched with new knowledge and experience. Interestingly, these tales share similarities with myths from other cultures around the world. However, while for most researchers these stories are just myths born of human imagination and the need to understand the universe, others argue that they may provide evidence of ancient encounters with extraterrestrial life. A fragment of a dwelling. This surviving section of a Roman leather tent is a fascinating reminder of the lives of the soldiers who guarded Hadrian's Wall in Roman Britain. Built in the early 2nd century AD, the wall stretched for 117 kilometers, dividing the Roman Empire from the barbarian lands to the north. Fort Vercovicium, part of this defensive system, was an important garrison where Roman soldiers lived and served. The tents were made from dozens of goat skins, carefully stitched to withstand the harsh northern climate of Britain. Each contubernium, a group of 8 soldiers, had one of these tents. It was their home, their resting place, and their refuge from the elements. The manufacturing process was so skillful that the seams and joints provided protection from rain and wind, which was crucial in conditions of constant dampness and cold. But the surviving section of the tent raises questions. How could such a fragile material survive for 2,000 years? Archaeologists suggest that it was preserved by the special conditions of the fort's soil as well as the minimal impact of oxygen. Mystics claim that such tents could have been impregnated with special solutions, the secret of which has been lost. Perhaps this is a legacy of knowledge that the ancient Romans could have received from other, more mysterious civilizations.
Stone with a human face. In 1872, a mysterious artifact was discovered, which still does not give exact answers about its origin. When Seneca Ladd of Meredith decided to fence off his property, workers found a strange object in the clay. Made from dark quartzite and shaped like an egg, this stone features a human face and symbols such as a wigwam and arrows. Many speculated that the item was created by Native Americans. In 1931, a theory arose that it could be the Celtic thunderstone, a mythical object that supposedly falls from the heavens. In the past, such stones found on Earth were considered signs from the gods or the elements. The artifact is now in a museum where visitors can see it in person. However, its real history and purpose still remain unknown. What do you think? What is the real history of this item? Buddha Iron Man. This is an amazing find that has shocked scientists around the world. This statue, about 24 centimeters high and weighing 10 kilograms, was created from a fragment of a meteorite. The specimen represents the image of the Buddhist god Vaishravana, who symbolizes protection and wealth. The origin of the statue has been carefully studied by researchers. Based on the results of the analysis, it was determined that the material for the creation was taken from the Chinga meteorite, which fell on the border of Mongolia and Siberia about 15,000 years ago. It is believed that the statue was created in the 11th century AD on the territory of Tibet. It is amazing how the ancient masters, without even suspecting the cosmic origin of the material, were able to so skillfully process and transform it into a work of art. In 1938, Ernst Schaefer's expedition, funded by Nazi Germany, discovered the statue in Tibet and brought it back to Germany. Subsequently, its origin and material remained a subject of controversy and mystery for a long time, until recent scientific research revealed its amazing history. Today, Iron Man stands not only as a majestic work of art, but also as a testament to the unique combination of nature and human artistry.
Obsidian mirror. Ancient civilizations in Mexico used obsidian mirrors or tezcatls as divination tools. Looking into the depths of the mirror, the sorcerers were transported to the world of gods and ancestors. Obsidian mirrors can be seen as a metaphor for the images of ancient Mexican monuments. They reflect not only the object, but also the person looking. The main accessory of the supreme Aztec god Tezcatlipoca is an obsidian mirror. His name translates to smoking mirror. He is often depicted with a mirror on his chest, wearing jewelry, or in place of his right leg. Tezcatlipoca was the ruler of the night and its creatures, primarily the jaguar, which according to beliefs could move between the earthly and underground worlds. In 1969, American artist Robert Smithson visited Mayan ruins, following the path of writer John Lloyd Stevens. Despite traveling through Mayan territory, Smithson claimed to embody Tezcatlipoca. This experience inspired him to create a piece of art in which he used mirrors to illustrate time travel. In the early 20th century in Mexico City, Augustus Genin, a Mexican collector of French origin, amassed an extensive collection of pre-Columbian artifacts. Ancient Mexican mirrors from his collection survive to this day in various shapes and sizes. Sometimes they were reused, inserted into Christian crosses, or as symbols of vanity. Bronze artifacts in Turkey. At the ruins of the ancient castle of Ioannis, located in what is now Turkey, archaeologists have discovered bronze shields and a helmet that are about 2,700 years old. The artifacts, found under 20 meters of rubble, were created during the Urartian kingdom and were likely used for ceremonial purposes to honor the god Kaldi, a protector in war. Ioannis Castle was built as a fortress and royal residence during the reign of King Rusa II in the 7th century BC. However, it only stood for 25 years before it was destroyed by an earthquake. The newly discovered bronze shields and helmet were found in the ceremonial hall of the castle. Decorations on the helmet and intricate patterns on the shields confirmed that they were used in religious ceremonies. Other bronze objects have been found at the site previously, many of which are dedicated to Haldi, the main god of the Urartians, who was believed to protect them during warfare. Despite minor damage, the artifacts are well preserved, and restoration will help to restore them to their full form. Ioannis Castle remains the richest source of Urartian bronze artifacts in Turkey, and each find provides more information about the culture of this ancient kingdom. Mongoose statue from ancient Egypt. This artifact is not only a fascinating find, but also a mystical one. In ancient Egyptian mythology, the mongoose was associated with the divine powers of light and protection. In Heliopolis, the center of the cult of the sun god Ra, the mongoose symbolized the victory of light over darkness. According to myths, the god Ra, taking the form of a mongoose, fought Apophis, the serpent of chaos, who threatened the solar boat. This bronze statue with a solar disk on its head symbolizes solar energy and immortality. Such artifacts were often placed in temples or used in rituals to protect against evil. Interestingly, some researchers suggest that the mongoose, with its ability to hunt snakes, also symbolized the ability to overcome difficulties and defeat enemies, both spiritual and physical. Many such figurines were found in tombs, where they probably served as amulets to help the souls of the dead overcome dangers in the afterlife. Mongooses, which became part of sacred Egyptian symbolism, remain a reminder of the deep connections between nature, religion, and the spiritual philosophy of this ancient people. Parasite eggs, 200 million years old. Modern parasites are known to play a key role in ecosystems. However, paleontologists from Mahasaracham University, Thailand, have made breakthroughs in understanding their historical presence. After examining the fossilized excrement of ancient animals, they found ancient parasites in them, including Ascaris roundworms. The discovery follows reports of the revival of an ancient worm from Siberian permafrost by Russian scientists. Working with coprolites dating back about 200 million years, scientists discovered structures consistent with 5 types of parasites. Interest in these fossils stemmed from locals in Thailand who considered them good luck talismans due to their unusual shape. This is the first known example of parasites in a terrestrial vertebrate from the late Triassic period in Asia. It is also one of the few records of preserved roundworm eggs in coprolites of ancient animals. These parasites were found in the excrement of what appeared to be a phytosaur or other crocodile-like reptile from the Triassic period. The find strengthens our understanding of how parasites interacted with their host in ancient times. Egyptian crocodile armor. Egyptian crocodile armor is a truly unique find. It was created from crocodile skin and was used in religious rites in ancient Egypt. During the time of the pharaohs, crocodiles were considered sacred animals and symbolized strength and power. The god Sobek, often depicted as a man with the head of a crocodile, was one of the most important deities in Egyptian mythology. It was often associated with the power of the pharaohs as well as protection and fertility. The armor, made from crocodile skin, was allegedly used by priests during religious ceremonies in honor of Sobek. Crocodile skin, in turn, was considered a powerful amulet that protected against enemies and evil spirits. 2,000-year-old fig. Irish archaeologists have made a surprising discovery when they found the charred remains of a 2,000-year-old fig tree on Drumnach Point north of Dublin. The find is important evidence that the Roman Empire, which once considered Ireland untouchable, did have an impact on its culture. Drumnach Point was a key point of contact between Ireland and Roman-ruled England. The fig was the most surprising of the finds made by researchers from University College Dublin. The seeds of the fruit confirm that it was brought to the island at a time when such exotic fruits were considered rare.
Figs had previously only been found in medieval strata in Ireland, but this is the oldest known. As well as the figs, traces of spelt were found, a grain widely consumed in Roman Britain but rare in Ireland. The finds show that the Romans not only traded goods but also transferred lifestyles. Archaeologist Christine Baker said that the people of Ireland at the time enjoyed spelt bread, olive oil, wine in used glass, and ceramic dishes, brooches, and beads. Figs, first grown in eastern Turkey and northern India, were carried by ancient trade routes to the Mediterranean, where they became an important part of the Roman diet. Researchers believe that figs and spelt may have been brought through Roman Chester, a major trading post in Britain. 8 secret rooms in the pyramid. Experts from the Julius Maximilian University of Würzburg, working on the restoration of the Sekur Pyramid, discovered 8 previously unexplored rooms. This pyramid, built approximately 4,400 years ago, is the tomb of the Egyptian pharaoh Sahure of the 5th dynasty. Although the site was explored in the 19th and 20th centuries, ongoing work has led to new discoveries. The main task of the researchers was to strengthen the foundation of the pyramid to prevent its further destruction. Thanks to 3D laser scanning technology, detailed plans of the pyramid, including its interior, were drawn up. As a result of the research, a secret corridor was discovered leading to previously unknown rooms. The condition of these premises raises a number of questions, including regarding their original contents. After the discovery of new rooms, restoration work began. Scientists intend to continue studying the pyramid in search of additional discoveries. They believe future discoveries could revise our understanding of the history and architecture of the pyramids.
The Holy Grail of the Nazis. This artifact has become increasingly popular over time, especially in the context of research into the esoteric beliefs of the Nazi regime. It is true that a number of senior Nazi leaders, including Himmler, were interested in the occult and mystical traditions. However, it is necessary to understand that most of the information on this topic is based on myths and guesses. However, there is a version that the Nazis were actually looking for the Holy Grail in the hope of using its mythical properties for their own purposes. In combination with archaeological expeditions organized by the Nerba SS Research Institute, this version becomes even more interesting. Some historians claim that one of the goals of Nazi expeditions to Tibet and other regions was to search for relics, including the Grail. However, there is no clear evidence for this. There is also an opinion that the Grail could be located in southern France, in the Cathar region, and that the Nazis carried out excavations there. This myth has been further inflated by popular culture, especially movies and books. A number of works depict Nazis pursuing sacred relics, including the Grail, to gain supernatural power or justify their ideology. Scientific and historical research on the topic proves that while the Nazis were indeed interested in the occult and mysticism, most of these claims are based on myth. However, the idea that the Nazis may have been searching for the Holy Grail has become one of the most recognizable and disturbing themes in modern pop culture.
A mystery in the Amazon jungle. Padre Carlos Crespi Croce, an Italian missionary who spent most of his life serving in Ecuador, became one of the most enigmatic figures of the 20th century thanks to his extraordinary collection of artifacts. Working with the Shuar tribes in the Ecuadorian jungle, he acquired many ancient objects that some researchers believed could be evidence of an ancient, highly advanced civilization, and perhaps even contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. Crespi's collection included strange metal plates engraved with symbols reminiscent of ancient writing, figurines depicting creatures with unusual features, and objects that many described as technologically sophisticated. Of particular intrigue were metal reliefs depicting creatures with elongated skulls, stars, and scenes reminiscent of space travel. Interestingly, there were no known civilizations in the region that could produce such complex items. Rumors about the collection spread after some visitors, including researchers, claimed to see evidence of extraterrestrial influence in it. Some of the artifacts were said to be made of metals that could not be identified. Crespi, however, was not looking for fame. He claimed to accept these items from local tribes in exchange for aid and food. The collection's connection to extraterrestrial civilizations becomes even more interesting when considering the mystery of the tunnels beneath Ecuador that are the subject of legend. The tunnels, known as the Teos system, are said to contain a library of metal books. Some theorists suggest that these tunnels were a base for an ancient race, possibly of extraterrestrial origin. The Crespi collection could have been part of these treasures. Unfortunately, after the death of Padre Crespi in 1982, the collection was destroyed by fire or stolen, and its fate remains unclear. What do you think? Could a missionary become the custodian of traces of an ancient space civilization hidden in the Amazon jungle?
Giant fishing channels. Archaeologists have made a sensational discovery. 4,000-year-old fishing channels created by the precursors of the Mayan civilization have been discovered in Belize, in the territory of the modern Crooked Tree Nature Reserve. Using drone data and Google Earth images, the researchers revealed a complex network of earthen channels that stretch for several kilometers through marshy areas. These unique zigzagging channels indicate that people were already actively modifying the landscape at that time. Around the channels, archaeologists found serrated points that were probably used to catch fish, such as catfish, as well as reservoirs for storing the catch. It is believed that the channels were built about 4,000 years ago by semi-sedentary peoples on the coast of Yucatan and were used for more than 1,000 years. This coincides with the formative period when the Maya began the transition to sedentary agriculture and the formation of their unique culture. Major landscape changes such as these canals preceded the construction of the great Mayan temples, roads, and pyramids, and became the foundation of their cultural development. These canals not only provided food but also contributed to population growth and dietary diversity. Archaeologists believe that the knowledge and experience of these early peoples played an important role in the emergence of the great Mayan civilization, linking it to older traditions.
Visby lenses. A favorite pastime of archaeologists and historians is playing what if. Many moments from the past, even seemingly insignificant ones, could radically change the course of human history. For example, what if the so-called Visby lenses fell into the hands of an early medieval scientist and he began the study of optics in Europe 500 years earlier? The Visby lenses are a collection of high-quality optical lenses found on the Swedish island of Gotland in 1999. They date back to the 11th and 12th centuries and are made of quartz. Some lenses show signs of alteration, probably for mounting in the silver frames that make them so recognizable. These lenses are reminiscent of the reading stones of Abbas ibn Firnas. This suggests that the lenses were produced in the Byzantine or Islamic empires, then brought to Scandinavia and remade to suit local tastes. Lenses of this type could be used as magnifying glasses for reading or for viewing the details of objects. They could also serve as decoration. Interestingly, when compared with modern lenses, the image quality of antique lenses is almost as good. However, the origin of the lenses remains a mystery. The appearance and disappearance of these lenses in the Scandinavian world raises questions. Did they buy the first lenses or receive them as trophies? Did an Islamic or Byzantine artisan come to Gotland? Or was it the creation of a brilliant inventor from Gotland? Regardless of the origin of the lenses, the question can be asked. What if they had fallen into the hands of the inventor who created the telescope 500 years before Galileo? What if Vikings could explore our solar system? What if the science of optics had begun to develop 500 years earlier? Carved snakehead. Tenochtitlan, the ancient center of Mexico City, was once the heart of the Triple Alliance and had between 200,000 and 400,000 inhabitants. However, the arrival of the Spaniards led to mass deaths from smallpox. Now, centuries later, an amazing find has been discovered in the city center, an Aztec snakehead measuring 1.8 by 1 meter. Due to the characteristics of the soil, many details of the artifact were preserved. The researchers were amazed to see that 80% of the carvings were still covered in bright pigments: ochre, red, blue, black, and white. This is a reflection of how Mexicans decorated their temples and religious images. To preserve rare pigments, scientists use a special chamber, the work in which will last until 2024. This artifact reminds us of the greatness of the ancient Aztecs and allows us to see a world full of bright colors and finest art. This discovery connects us to the culture and history of Tenochtitlan and adds new pieces to the mosaic of human history. The discovery of the Aztec snake shows how much remains to be learned about ancient civilizations. Exposing the aliens from Peru. The world community was shocked by the news about mummies from the Nazca Desert, presumably of alien origin. After a high-profile presentation in Mexico, many media outlets paid attention to them. But according to Peru's Minister of Culture, Leslie Orteaga, things weren't that simple. These remains, she said, date back to the pre-Hispanic period. As it turned out, these are ancient bone remains and not aliens. But journalist and ufologist Jaime Mawson claims the opposite. He is confident that the 60 centimeters remains, which are about 1,000 years old, are aliens. The secret of these mummies has been discussed at the state level for many years. Orteaga admitted, "We knew about this discovery much earlier. However, in Peru, there is still no clear understanding of what kind of mummies these are. The intrigue is aggravated by statements from scientists. Perhaps these are real ancient mummies, fragments of which once fell into the hands of scammers. We learned about amazing archaeological discoveries and mysterious traces that aliens could have left in ancient times. But whatever it really is, such research reminds us of the richness and complexity of our history." The oldest tunic from Egypt. The 4,500-year-old tunic is now in the Cairo Museum and is one of the most valuable pieces of ancient Egyptian art. This amazing piece of clothing has been well preserved to this day, giving us a glimpse into the life and fashion of ancient Egypt. The tunic is made of linen, a popular material at the time that was cool and affordable. Its design is simple but elegant. Narrow sleeves and a straight cut emphasize the status and degree of sophistication of its owner. It is interesting to note that despite its age, the tunic design is still relevant today. It is believed that such tunics were worn by high-ranking persons or priests. Clothes of this kind emphasize the status of its owner in society. Members of the upper echelons of Egyptian society often decorated their clothing with embroidery or gold stitching to distinguish themselves from others. I hope that our journey through history was as exciting for you as it was for me. Write your kind comments under the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for your views. Bye, everyone.